I said last week was a bit of a strange episode, but that's mostly just because I don't really play sports games, so it's kind of weird for me to talk about. However, this week on Mainline episode number 21, we do have a very strange game to talk about. What's going on, fellas? Jerry Yap here, and today we are talking about a remaster of a game that came out in 2004. To be more specific, September 21st, 2004, which, oh my God, I didn't even realize, but I'm going to be airing this episode a day after the 20-year anniversary of this game. That is insane. I'm not even joking. That's just the fate of the universe, the fate of the cosmos. Good joke, some would say. So, of course, if you've read the title of this episode, you would know we are talking about Katamari Damacy, the reroll, which is basically just a remaster. I don't think they changed really anything about the core gameplay. It's still the same exact game that it was back in 2004, except they just added like a split screen multiplayer and then some other features I'm not really remembering off the top of my head right now. And man, it is just like I remember it was all the way back then. The remaster or reroll edition of this game released December 7th, 2018, and I cannot remember how I bought this game. I know I bought it because it was on sale for like dirt cheap. I think I was like scrolling through Amazon or something and looking at Switch games, and then I came across this, and it was like on sale for $20, and I didn't even realize that they made a remaster of this game. So I was like, wait a second, Katamari, isn't that weird ass game where you just roll up a bunch of objects onto a ball? And sure enough, it was, and I was like, $20, hell yeah, add to cart, buy it now, ship that shit to me, Jeff Bezos. It's funny how you could just buy a game, play it once, and then just it goes into the nether realm where you just never ever see it again. That's why I love doing this podcast, because I can just clear up my backlog of all these games that have just been taking up space and I've been meaning to play, just knocking them out one at a time. And that's exactly what Katamari Damacy was for me, man. It's just been sitting in my backlog. I bought it, played it like one time, never touched it, finally went back to it recently after buying it so many years ago. So I'm happy to finally just knock this one out. I know there's a couple Katamari games in the series as a whole, including some mobile games. However, I believe this is the only one I've ever played. I only ever played the first one and then the remaster. This was one of the many games from my childhood where I vaguely remember playing it a couple times and then just moving on to something else, you know, because of kid brain wanting to have something else to occupy it. Although I did love it at the time. I do remember really enjoying it just because it is such a weird, strange, abstract concept for a video game, isn't it? It's like, hey guys, we're going to throw a ball around. You're going to just roll up objects and try to get your ball huge. That's essentially, I know there's a little more to it, but that's essentially what you're doing. I got introduced to this game through my sister, actually. My sister's not a huge gamer, but she does play the occasional weird game every now and then, and this happened to be one of them way back in the day that I found out about because of her. This was, of course, during the PS2 era. Man, does anybody else miss the PS2 era of gaming? I just truly don't think gaming will ever feel like that era was ever again, you know? Back in those days, we were just excited to try new games. I just miss it, man. It was way back when you could never like look anything up about a game online. There was no such thing as like reviews, right? It was only just word of mouth. It was so good. The internet truly is a blessing and a curse, man, because I really wish I could get online and just read cool stuff about a game. But instead, you get online nowadays, and it's just full with complaints, man. Everybody's complaining about every part. Graphics, story, price points. And it's like, okay, I get it. Stuff deserves criticism, but it's like only the criticism ever gets voiced. The celebrations of good stuff never gets voiced. And it's just very tiresome, you know? Back in this era of gaming, it was all just about you, your controller, booting up a fun-ass game, and that was it, man. There was no other anything. That was just it. That's truly all it was. And I don't know, man. Going on a bit of an old man rant here, but it's got to be said. That's enough crying into the void for now. Let's talk about Katamari, this beautiful, brilliant, wholesome, strange fucking game, man. I believe this is a completely original concept, if I'm not mistaken. You know, a lot of games today just take inspiration from multiple games and blend them together for this new experience that you're kind of familiar with. However, this game, as far as I know, I have never played anything like it. It's very unique in its own right. It was definitely the first of its kind. I don't know if there's anything else like this game today. Let me know in the comments if there is. But yeah, this is just one of those ones where the second you play it, the second you start to understand what the game is all about, you're just like, oh, okay, I could do that easy. And it becomes, you know, it's not like a chore. Some games feel like a chore to play. This is definitely not a chore. This game really echoes real life, I feel like, if that makes any sense. Well, echoes my life anyway. Let me tell you guys about an experience I had in, I think, middle school that kind of relates to Katamari in a way. So in middle school, I used to have this rubber band ball that I made. If you don't know what a rubber band ball is, I really encourage everybody to make one at least one time in their life. But what it is you basically just take a bunch of rubber bands and wrap them around each other until you get like a ball started, right? And then you keep putting rubber bands around those, and then you just keep expanding and expanding and expanding, and it gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, right? And there basically is no end goal. It's however many you can put on and just keep going, right? I remember the one I had in middle school. I don't know what the hell happened to it or where it went, but it ended up being like this, maybe a little bit bigger than a softball. It was pretty awesome. And dude, I swear there must have been like hundreds, maybe even thousands of rubber bands on this thing. And it was just super fun. And that's just kind of what Katamari is, right? Like it's just a gathering of objects onto the ball. So the rubber band ball kind of just reminded me of that. I don't know. Everyone should make one at least one time in their life, I feel like. I'm kind of talking myself into making another one. It sounds really fun. So yeah, you know what they say? Art imitates life. Life imitates art. Whatever the saying is. Art being the Katamari. Life being the rubber band ball. So, you know, something to think about. That's enough bulling around for now. Let's roll on into the next section where I talk about Katamari. Holy shit, you see what I did there? That's such a great segue. Oh my god. So you pop in that physical cartridge or you load it up digitally if you're a weirdo that buys digital games. You create a new save file. You watch this very strange and weird opening cutscene. It honestly looks like the opening cutscene to like a cartoon that just features a bunch of outlandish stuff that is going to go on in the game. So you watch that and then it immediately throws you into the tutorial and shows you the controls of this game. Which I will say, the controls are very odd at first. You have to use both joysticks to kind of move the ball around. And you also have to put them opposite, like vertically to turn. I don't know. It's really hard and weird to explain and also weird to grasp. There is a simple control layout you can turn it to. However, I do remember that this game is a Japanese game. And I do remember that they never released the Mario Lost levels over here because they thought Americans were too bad at games. So I didn't want to nerf myself by putting it on the simple control difficulty. I wanted to use the Japanese one to, you know, get the full experience of the game. So that's exactly what I did. I didn't want to let my American ancestors down by losing to a Japanese control scheme. So that's just what I did. I rose to the challenge and I conquered it. After you're done with the controls tutorial, you're basically just slapped into another cutscene that kind of sets up the whole premise of the game and what you're doing in the game. One of the main characters is the King of the Cosmos. And in this cutscene, it's honestly insane, but you see him just flying throughout the space and stars. You basically just see him flying above Earth's orbit, crashing into all these stars and breaking them. He crashes into the moon and busts it up into a bunch of pieces. He basically just gets rid of all the stars around Earth's orbit and the moon because he's shit-faced. That is literally the entire story. So you play as the prince, his son, the prince of the cosmos. He has you do his bidding of recreating the stars, essentially. Yeah, that's essentially what the Katamari is it's the base of all the stuff you got to roll up. You have to roll up a bunch of objects around Earth, make it into a certain size, and then the King of the Cosmos comes down, releases it, and then recreates a star. Each level in the game is basically just a new star getting formed. Also, there's two different kinds of missions in this game. There's kind of like side quest missions, and then there's like the main missions you do. The main missions are called like Make a Star 1 through 9, and then the last one's Make a Moon. And then all the side missions will say like Make Virgo or Make Pisces, those kinds of things. What are they, like astrology signs or whatever? The Make a Star main missions, you essentially just have to get the Katamari up to whatever size that the King of the Cosmos wants you to, and that's all it really is. You get a time limit to roll up stuff, and then the side missions are a little different. You have to collect a certain number of specific objects on your Katamari. One of them I had to collect a bunch of crabs, a different one I had to collect a bunch of bears, and then another one I had to collect twins, which was like, you know, double objects, like whether it was humans or dominoes or just anything of sets of two. So that was kind of interesting as well. And I will talk about that a little later, man. Like just the amount of stuff and what you can roll up in this game is just insane. Like you can just roll up human beings and it's actually probably very frightening for them. It's so funny. I'm sorry, I just have to mention this really quick. I forgot to describe what he looked like, but the King of all Cosmos, dude, he has like a testicle chin, but it's not like your typical ball chin where it literally just looks like two balls. Dude, it literally looks like two separate balls like going out and then coming back into each other. It's so weird. And then of course he also has like a giant bulge cock too. Like it's not like the outline of a cock or anything, but it's just a giant giant bulge in his pants area. And it's like, okay, this is a very interesting choice for character design. You know what? Fuck it. Let me throw it up on the screen for you guys just right now. Like, what is this, dude? Like, I would genuinely love to just pick the brain of whoever designed this guy or whoever drew this up. Like, who drew this and who approved it? Like, what the hell, dude? Just the fact that it's like, the fact that this guy is supposedly like the king of the universe, like the king of all cosmos, right? And this is just what he looks like. I don't know. I love the design. Very funny. Would make a fucking hilarious cosplay, probably. I mean, I might as well just talk about the rest of the characters since there's not that many anyway. You play as the Prince of the Cosmos. He's the little green guy that rolls the ball around. We all know him. We all love him. He's a cool, dapper young gentleman. There's the Queen of the Cosmos, obviously pretty self-explanatory. It's the king's wife and also the prince's mom. She doesn't play a very big part in this game, though. She's in it, but she doesn't really have any lines or anything that I remember anyway. She's a very, very small part of the game. I would imagine she comes back in later games and serves more of a purpose, but I don't know for sure. I haven't played them. And then last but not least, there's the Hoshino family, which aren't really in the game. They're just the family in the cutscenes. They kind of have their own separate like storyline that's told through all the cutscenes after each main mission you play. Oh, I'll mention that really quick. That's actually something I really did like about this game. After every single main mission you do, you get another cutscene that kind of progresses this mini story, which it was just interesting. I was really excited to finish each mission and just kind of see where the story goes next, because it gives you it slaps you with a to be continued after every single one of them. So you're like, oh my God, where's it going to go next? I don't know. It's just interesting. It really kept stringing me along, and that was kind of cool. I messed with that. Let me correct myself from earlier as well. I said that the split screen multiplayer was an inclusion of the remaster, but I actually looked it up. There is multiplayer in the original one. My mistake for that. The reason I'm mentioning this is because you play as the prince, right? So when you go to play split screen multiplayer, there's what they call cousins, and they're basically just variations of whatever the hell race the prince is, I guess, human-esque. So yeah, there's a bunch of different cousins in the game. I guess it's worth mentioning. I never played the split screen or the multiplayer in this game, so let me know in the comments below if it's fun or not. Gameplay wise, I mean, I don't really know if there's much more I can say, guys. I pretty much explained it all earlier. You have a Katamari. That's what you use to roll up objects around Earth. You roll around the objects to get your Katamari bigger, and then as soon as it hits the goal size for the mission, you're done. It becomes a star. Like, that is literally it. I will say there is a bunch of variety of objects you can roll up, though. I mean, it's literally anything from like chocolate bars to like newspaper stands, magazines, basketballs, bicycles, motorcycles, humans, towers, skyscrapers, oil rigs, clouds. Like, it gets so big by the end of the game. Each mission kind of prepares you to just keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and then you eventually start conquering worlds. Maybe not in this game, at least. Maybe in the other ones. I do want to play the others at some point. I wonder if it gets even bigger than it does in this game, because the last mission where you have to make the moon, you literally roll up skyscrapers. I forgot how big the goal target is, but it's massive. All that being said, this game is a very, very short experience. I think it maybe took me just under 5 hours. I don't know. It took me about 4 days to play, maybe an hour each day. It wasn't really that bad at all. It's just a very short experience. And, you know, it's a nice change of pace. I actually really like short games. I love short and sweet games, you know. I really don't like when games drag on way too much and then you start to get tired of it, right? I mean, if it's good and it's gripping you, it's fine, but sometimes games overstay their welcome, you know. I think the ideal length for a single player game is maybe like in that 12-hour area. Anything less than that is too short, and then anything more and it just gets too long. However, it's a case-to-case basis, man. It really depends if it's gripping me or not. However, that's how long I'd like to spend on a game, but short and sweet games like Katamari Damacy, they're just welcome, man. I really, really love a nice, short, sweet experience. You can just pick up, have a blast, fuck around for a little bit, and then just put it away, and then maybe just re-dig it up a few years later and enjoy it again. Let's move on to the fan favorite segment, Re-Chad of the Week, where we pick out a retard or a Chad comment from the reviews of Katamari to, you know, kind of break down, try to understand it, see where they're coming from, and just highlight, you know? So here we go. We're going to go deep digging somewhere. Of course, being a Nintendo game, there's no reviews on the Nintendo website or anywhere to be found on the Switch or anything, so we headed over to Xbox.com to find this review. Yes, Xbox, because this game was released on multiple platforms, which is very, very cool. Here we have a review from Gut Bucket Ghoul, posted a couple years ago, 5-star review. He says, "Ball is life. Roll ball to get bigger and save universe. Smiley emoji. Makes me happy, makes me smile. Bigger smiley emoji." I gotta agree with my boy Ghoul here. I mean, it kind of just doesn't it just kind of activate that monkey part of your brain where it's just like roll ball, get bigger, have fun. You know what I mean? Like it's for simple people, man. If you're a simple person like me, you kind of just realize that there is. I know I said it last episode as well, but there truly is beauty in simplicity, man. It doesn't have to be some crazy Marvel insane concept of a game to be super fun, and that's exactly what Katamari represents to me. It's literally just the most simple concept ever, right? I know I said it a million times, but I gotta say it one more time. You're just rolling up objects in a ball, man. It's not that complicated, but it makes for such a fucking fun experience, man. Like, you either just get it or you don't, you know? That's really all it comes down to. That's really all you can say. Some people get it, some people don't. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. It just comes down to personal preference, you know? I wanted to highlight a 5-star review and a Chad this week because honestly, I was looking through all the 1-star reviews and people are just complaining about how bad of a port this is apparently, and then the control scheme as well. A lot of people are crying about the controls rather than learning them. They're just crying about them, which I find very funny, actually. The moment a game doesn't have the controls you expect, people just don't like it, and I guess it's showing a lot in these reviews, man. And that was a big problem for me at first, was the controls. I know I mentioned it earlier, guys. There is a simple control layout, but I feel like learning and getting the hang of the control scheme is just part of the fun of this game, you know what I mean? The controls are just very unique, with both joysticks being how you move the ball and whatnot, so I don't know. I had fun learning it personally, so thank you to Gutbucket Ghoul for the review, reminding me that there are people that can just, you know, sit down and enjoy a simple game, you know? It kind of pains me that people don't like this game and people don't like all the same stuff in general. And then I realize, like, how boring would life be if everybody liked everything all the time, you know what I mean? The fact that we have differing opinions as humans is kind of what makes great things better and bad things worse, you know? Life would be so shitty and boring if everybody just was on the same page about everything. So shout out to all my Katamari players. We see you, we love you, and as Limp Bizkit once said, keep on rolling, baby. That's it for the Katamari talk, guys. That's all I can really say. There's not much more to say about this game. Like I said, it's just a simple game. It's a simple, easy concept, and it happens to be a blast to play. Let me just mention what I've been playing this week, as I always do at the end of every episode. Even though nobody asks, I just like to let you guys know anyway. Still playing a little bit of Pokemon Unite. It's like my go-to PvP game besides Mechabellum. I've been playing some Mechabellum 2 on Steam. If you don't know what it is, I recommend you look it up and try it. It's very, very fun. If you're into like strategy games, but it's not like a real-time strategy game. It's like a game where you set up a board and face your opponent in multiple rounds, clearing their army and stuff. Very, very fun. I've been playing Mechabellum. Haven't been playing that much Overwatch lately. I haven't been really playing that much PC lately. I've just been on this Xbox 360 game grind I mentioned last week that later got a reboot that got horribly shit on, and it was not well received. So I'm playing the original and I'm playing the reboot. I just got done playing through the original, so that's what I've been doing. Been playing that every chance I got. So that will be next week's game, okay? That's gonna do it. That's gonna be the episode. Would I recommend Katamari Damacy reroll or the original to anybody? Absolutely, I would. I think anybody of any gaming range, whether you're a noob at games, whether you're a master at games, anybody, I could literally see anybody enjoying this game and this title, or anything in this series rather. So, buy it for your mother, buy it for your daughter, buy it for your grandfather, buy it for your toddler, maybe even buy it for a fetus that hasn't even developed yet, because it will definitely grow to love the game. That's going to do it for the video, guys. Drop a comment down below. Let me know one of your favorite moments in Katamari, all right? Look out for next week's Redacted episode, and I will talk to you later. Thanks for listening. Enjoy your week. Enjoy your weekend. Enjoy your day. Peace. Goodbye. Goodbye.